All right. We've got a great video for you today on Theotech. I'm Kevin Purcell, and we bring you church and Bible technology. If you're interested in that kind of thing, please subscribe. And also hit the like button if after this is over you really like this. What we're going to do today is we're going to show you the third step, that's step 3, in the process of using Logos Bible software in order to prepare your sermons. I'm calling this creative digital sermon preparation. Over at kevinpurcell.org you can find all the information about this. So let's go ahead and jump in. I'm going to go ahead and pull up Logos. You sit back and enjoy. So this third step in sermon preparation, talking about creative digital sermon preparation using Logos Bible software. In this third step, we're going to start Logos, and whatever you have to do, get to a point where you've got a Bible open, and then what you're going to want to do is begin by creating a note. And if you did the previous step, we've got a link to that down in the description below, but I previously did a video talking about our 10 steps to creative digital sermon preparation. Again, this link will be down in the show notes, but step 1 was pray and then pick a Bible passage. The second is making observations of a text. If you did that, then you probably already have a note file open for your text, but I'm starting with a brand new text here, and so I'm going to go ahead and create it. Make sure you have the reference selected right here, reference Isaiah 64 verse 1, and then you want to find take a note right here. Now if you want, you can add it to certain notes, but with the newest version of Logos version 8, I just like the way it handles notes. It does a much better job, and so I just kind of put all my notes into one file. A lot of people don't like that, and so you might want to do it differently. So, of course, you would have made some observations here, something along the lines of the term rend seems to, make sure we can type, seems to imply tearing, open, and I don't seem to be able to type, and the word spell checker in Logos is not the best. So anyway, that's an observation. It's kind of a boring one, nothing really all that special. But then what we're going to do is we're going to start asking questions. And we want to ask the who, what, when, where, why, and how questions. These are investigative questions. Journalists use them, and investigators use them, and Bible students should use them. So you look at this, and is there a who here? And who is the you referring to? And of course that's obvious. It's talking about God, but later on in this passage we might find that it could actually be talking about the Messiah coming in the future. We'll see. Okay, so what does a shaking of the mountains look like? Again, I'm typing very terribly. My copy of Logos is running extremely slowly right now, so it's taking me a while. So that's another question I might ask. And when is this all expected to take place? Where? I don't know that where is a really appropriate one. Where are there mountains in Israel? Possibly. So you get the idea. We're not going to go through and do every single one of these. Now, one of the things I like to do when I open my note file is I click that button right up here, and that gets rid of the stuff on the side. And so we're going to go through here and just ask the different questions: who, what, when, where, why, and how. And we'll go through each verse one by one, trying to ask as many questions as we can think of. Think carefully about this. It might be good also to open up extra copies of the Bible while you're doing this. So maybe you want to have, say, the ESV open as well. And that way you've got 2 copies of it If the text is too small, hit that button. No, I'm sorry. It's on the other side now. Hit that button and you can increase the size of your text. Now, one of the questions that we'll ask, this what question, we're going to ask repeatedly, what does X mean? And so X would be any of the key words in this passage. For example, this term rend. Notice I double-clicked it and it opened up the Theological Word Book of the Old Testament. That's my #1 Hebrew lexicon. You can do that, or you can right-click it and use selection on this side and then do a Bible word study. That's one way to handle that. So if we do that, run a Bible word study, and it's going to come up with a word study for all of these, for that word. Your word study will have things like, where it shows up in dictionaries. It's going to give you a nice little graph for how it's rendered. And then senses, which has to do with meaning and context. And so again, it does a search of your library fairly quickly, showing you how it's rendered in different places and what the senses are to give or to supply. That's kind of an interesting way to think of render. Down here at the bottom of the page, you'll notice that we've got our reverse interlinear, where it shows the word in the text, in the Hebrew text. It also shows you the lemma and a few other things. You can change this by going up here to the interlinear settings, and you can make it inline. If you do that, it shows you in the verses. I don't like that. So you can decide what you want to have shown here. But I've got it set the way I like it. And one of the things you can click here is this Strong's number. And again, that brings up this term, the exact term in my Theological Word Book of the Old Testament. There's also the sense. You can click on that, and that's going to bring you a whole report from the Bible Sense Lexicon, which shows that it has a general overall meaning, but then it breaks it down with a few other more specific kinds of meanings. And even this word, to break, it could be to dash, to shatter, or to tear, and that's more of the concept of what we've got here. And then that gives you even further, more granular understanding. And so here we got to rend, and that's what it was translated in this passage. And so you get over here the lemmas and different things. I'm not going to spend a lot of time in here. What I like to do instead is I select the verse and then I run what's called an exegetical guide. And you can do that by going to your guides menu and then pick exegetical guide. But what I've done is I've actually dragged this button onto my toolbar. Okay, so I've got this exegesis guide right here, and so I'm going to run it. It says enter the passage. Since I selected a verse, it's got part of it here, but we just want to do verse 1 for now, so it'll be a lot quicker. And this is going to show you information. Now I have customized mine, which if you want you can go over here to add, and you can add all kinds of stuff in here, or go to edit guide. I've edited mine because the main thing I want to look at is this word by word section. Now it's got other parts, textual variants, if it shows up in any of your Hebrew or Greek grammar books, grammatical constructions, interactives. It has no results there. The lemma in the passage from all your commentaries, which might be interesting, but I don't want to do that yet. I'm not interested. I just want to look at this word by word guide. What it does is it takes every single major term and gives you an entry. And in that entry, for example, this term, oh, that, is broken down a little bit. And I count this as part of the asking questions, because essentially you're asking the question, what does that word mean, over and over again. And so you notice what I do then is after I'm done with a word, I'll collapse it so that I can look at the next one, the heavens. Maybe I do want to understand that a little bit more. So this first button shows you that graph that we saw in the Bible word study. If I click on it, it's going to open that Bible word study and give me a little more detail. So maybe I've got a word that I'm a lot more interested in. This is that word to tear, or to open, or rend, as it was in the New King James Version. So maybe I want to study that a little more closely. And what do you do with this word study? Well, this is, have your links to your lexicons like we did before. All right. And it also has this nice graph that shows you how it is translated in various scriptures. If you're interested in that, you can click on it. So that pulls it out and it does a quick search. And really, I think before looking at things like lexicons, I think it's best to search the Bible for the word and see how it's translated and how it's used in the context. And look at a bunch of different passages from a bunch of different places. Don't just spend all your time in one book. So what words are you mostly going to look at? I'm going to just real quickly, there's this close all button, just to kind of get rid of everything and open up our passage again. So what words are you most going to look for? Well, the key words you want to find, you definitely want to look at main verbs. You also want to see adjectives and then adverbs. Those are keywords. Now nouns, they're a little bit less expressive as far as meaning, but you still want to look at them. Your presence, okay? What does he mean by presence? All right, so if we were in that word study guide, the word by word like we were just now, we might want to open the word study to find out more about that word. And just all your information that you get, you're going to then record that in your note. Again, I like to make it wide, full screen. And so I'm going to start recording my observations from what does that mean. So I'm already answering questions here. So this part of the process is you ask the question and answer. Cool. Hey, thanks. Appreciate you coming. Appreciate you being here, sticking all the way to the end of that. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the like button and then also mash that subscribe button so that you can see the other ones. And also, be watching, because I'm going to make some more of these in this 10-step process. We're just on step 3, just getting started here with Logos Bible software. Now, right next to my head here, you'll probably see a video that you can go and look at. And please make sure you do that. And, also help me out, share this video with other people. So, thanks, and see ya.